Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? Certainly, Captain. What would you like to hear? A neutron walks into a bar and asks, "How much for a Rizzo's rum and something?" Leering, the bartender replies, "For you, no charge." Now playing a Spacer's Choice advertisement jingle.
It's not the best choice. It's Spacer's Choice.
My pleasure, Captain. As you wish, Captain. Certainly, Captain. I was hoping you would ask.
It was the law-forsaken parasites. I had become obsessed. My quest to stop them. To avenge my partner, Philip. And my ex-partner, Bernice. And Lieutenant Jurgen. And those two informants had brought me to Rizzo's distillery. But it wasn't just the triple distilled deliciousness of Rizzo's Spectrum brand vodka that I found there. It was death. I made sure the Brain Eaters paid the price. But at what cost to me? It's you.
This is the Halcyon News Network with breaking news. Halcyon Helen has been murdered. Administrator Ludovico of Rizzo's refused to answer the big question on everyone's mind. Who will Spectrum Vodka's next spokesperson be? Claiming that a special investigation must be concluded first.
Captain, we have a communication coming in from one Administrator Ludovico.
Get off the transmission, Cedric. We agreed to let me do the negotiating. Law be with you, friend. I am Administrator Ludovico of the famed Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. But there's no need to stand on formality. You may address me as Mr. Her death is the tragedy of our lifetime. As the face of our new product line, her murder is a stain on the Rizzo's brand. She was scheduled to unveil our newest product, Spectrum Brown, before this tragic event. But we cannot move forward with our unveiling until we apprehend the killer.
All right, Ludovico, that's enough. You don't know what you're doing. Let me handle this. Captain Hawthorne, Sublight's favorite freelancer. I'm such an admirer of your work. Cedric Kincannon, Sublight Underground. I'm so glad we're hiring a third-party investigator. No one wants to see a troop of UDL guards stomping all over my hotel, least of all me. The murder of Halcyon Helen is a heinous assault on this colony. I look forward to watching you find the miscreant responsible and drag them out of the shadows. You're a compassionate person, Captain. And you're right. Halcyon Helen was a talented woman. She had a gift for transforming her art into wealth. You would not believe the money she made us on Dissident Busters.
For law's sake, Cedric, Could you show a little discretion and not bring up your contraband operations in front of an outsider?
Ludovico, you wound me. I'm establishing rapport with our new contractor. Let's not give him the impression that you can't be trusted.
Do you really want to do this right now, Cedric? You want to antagonize me while I'm negotiating a contract? Because I promise you, I'll win.
First sensible thing I've heard all day. My apologies, Mr. Ludovico. That was unprofessional of me. Captain, I'm Constable Maria Keene. Hiring a third-party investigator was my idea. I've been studying your dossier. You are an extraordinary scientist. If your talents extend to forensics, then you may be exactly what we need. As far as I'm concerned, you're the ideal inspector for this case. I hate to admit it, but I'm a little out of my depth here. I'm used to dealing with rowdy VIPs from Byzantium, not murder. Please, Captain, I'm asking you to help us. While you're pursuing your investigation, we'll make you a guest of honor at the Grand Colonial.
I encourage you to consider this offer seriously. The future of our complex may depend on your success. I'll leave you in the constable's care. Mr. Kincannon and I must have a word.
Fine. Bud Rizzo's is paying for that hotel room.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for your help. And even though they may not show their gratitude, I know Administrator Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon appreciate your involvement. Mr. Kincannon could lose his spaceport if board authorities took over the investigation, and if Rizzo's is forced to cancel its unveiling, we might never recover. The Administrator oversees Rizzo's operations. Cedric runs the hotel and the spaceport. They're always at each other's throats. My life would be so much easier if they'd simply learned to work together. I'm pleased to hear that. From everything I've heard, you're a competent freelancer. And at the risk of sounding impertinent, we desperately need the help of someone competent. Thank you for your time, Captain. Whenever you're ready, I've authorized the Unreliable to land at the Grand Colonial.
Transmission terminated. Captain, we are now cleared to land at the Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. Eridanos is a hydrogen-helium gas giant, distinguished by a well-defined ring system. The Eridanos Atmospheric Complex is a system of land masses propelled through a thin layer of the upper atmosphere, where humans are potentially capable of surviving. There are several reasons why someone would hire your services. In descending order of likelihood, they are as follows: desperation, confusion, mistaken identity, inebriation, and genuine faith in your abilities.
Sometimes I can hear Vickers saying prayers to himself. Sometimes I hear him cussing about tossball scores. Hey, Cap. Something on your mind? I'm a surgeon by... Not much... No
Good to see you, boss.
touch down on the atmospheric complex in Eridanos. Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? I require...
Oh, wow. This is a job? Feels more like a vacation.
Hello there. Hope your atmospheric entry wasn't too troublesome. As a guest of honor, you deserve the best in comfort. Sublight Salvage and Shipping Underground, or Slug, as we like to call ourselves, is delighted to welcome you to Eridanos. I'm the Grand Colonial Head Bellhop. I'm here to grab your bags and direct you, the inspector, to the Grand Ballroom, which was the scene of the crime. I'll say. There's nary a soul here who wasn't a fan of hers in some respect. Just about everybody's shocked. Some people are inconsolable. Hell, even Black Hole Birdie, Helen's beau, has wandered off. Some folks think he had something to do with the murder, but I don't believe it.
Hey, Black Hole Birdie may be a savage brute on the field of honor, but he's no killer.
He did it. It's always the boyfriend.
Folks get heated when it comes to serials and their actors, I suppose. Don't I know it? Reminds me of the shootout in the lobby between Odeon Pictures and Rota Reels back in the day. And you wonder why nobody mentions Rota Reels anymore. Probably because they embarrassed themselves. The CEO of the company boasted that his crew could operate better and longer than Odeon Pictures mechanicals. I watched as Dr. Goodnight dragged him out of the lobby while he slept like a baby. The rest of his crew folded in a matter of days. I imagine the admin briefed you about Helen's part in the Spectrum Brown unveiling. Too bad about the postponement. Not so terrible as Helen's murder, but still a crying shame. I do. Rizzo's happened to rent out the Grand Colonial Ballroom from Slug for the unveiling. A nice mutually beneficial event. But the murder's gone and ruined that. Along with 9 out of 10 of my favorite cereals. Anyway, I think I've held you up long enough. Once you're ready, head down to the lobby. The ballroom is just behind the elevators. Meanwhile, I'll grab your bags. You're making fun, right? Your luggage, belongings, kit, wherever you keep what you ain't wearing. You're still giving me a pretty blank look. Suppose it's none of my business, but do you just wear the same set of clothes all the time? Well, reckon I can respect your candor, even if it scares me a smidge. Anyhow, I'll look for you in the grand ballroom later. Hope you can unravel this mystery, Inspector.
I think I must have had something in my ear. I could have sworn you just said we aren't allowed to depart.
Apologies, sir, but the atmospheric complex is on complete lockdown. No one's allowed in or out until the murder investigation's concluded.
Do you have any idea who I am? I could bury you under 6 tons of paperwork before you had the time to cry out for your supervisor.
I'm sure you could, but we fed our last box of grievance forms into the incinerator a few months ago. Is there anything I can do for you in the meantime?
I cannot believe this.
We're the future of Sublight. Just you wait and see.
Grand Colonial? Is my patronage worth nothing to you?
I'm sure you've spent a lot, sir, but unfortunately we can't make any exceptions.
Can't make any exceptions. In Byzantium, those words would be a criminal offense.
Shame we're not in Byzantium.
Greetings, Inspector. No need to check in here. Your paperwork has all been processed. You should be able to find the Colonial right ahead. Are you enjoying the amenities?
I've been starting to play a little game as we travel. You might be a top runger if your hotel is taller than the highest mountain on Monarch.
Bertie Holcomb is likely beside himself in grief. I adored her cereals.
I almost can't imagine someone wretched enough to do such a thing. You don't think a dissident could be here, do you?
Get a hold of yourself. The administrator would never allow someone as dangerous as a dissident here. Eridanos is safe. This is all just a terrible coincidence.
Of course, you are absolutely right. I think the idea of a psychopath wandering among us is just making me nervous. And I bet you believed Halcyon Helen's death was the worst part of all this.
What? You don't mean to tell me that it isn't? There's something even worse?
There is. I spent 6,000 bits on a new suit for the unveiling. But now that it's been postponed, I'll never get a chance to show it off.
My lord, that is a real tragedy.
I've always wondered what that mascot's got in his hands. What's in the box? I'll bet you 10 bits this is all just some sort of publicity stunt.
No, I never imagined Spencer Woolrich would outlive Halcyon Helen.
I was nearly attacked by a terror ray on my way here.
Oh, come on. Why is the lounge closed? I wanted brunch.
Mr. Kincannon really knows how to run a hotel.
The murder has inflicted severe emotional trauma on me. I demand a room upgrade. I can't believe Helen's gone. We're never going to get a sequel to Terror on Monarch.
The crime scene's awaiting, Inspector. Can't believe something like this could happen in my hotel. When I found her, I was just hoping she had a little too much to drink, but all the grievous bodily injury adds up, I suppose. Hey, Byzantines and restraint aren't two words that often go together. Wouldn't be the first blood-soaked, unconscious party-goer I've come across. Anyway, I'm sure you've got questions. Of course I did. I just told you I found the body. Oh, wait. You mean when she was still breathing? No, of course I didn't. Plus, it's untoward for an employee to speculate about the actions of a hotel guest. Not that I saw any hotel guests interacting with her. Honestly, you're more than a little right. I've been burning at the britches to share my theories. Day of her death, I saw Helen leave the hotel premises with the profit of profitability, and didn't see her come back. A little on the suspicious side, I think. Seemed especially strange, seeing how, as far as I was aware, the two didn't get on. Or as I can recall, Helen dismissed the ladies' seminars in some kind of interview. Said her co-star used them, but she didn't. The top rungers are always ready to read between the lines of famous folks and seem to think the Prophet was on her way out. Woman lost a ton of bits and is set to lose more. Yep. Gives seminars on increasing profit margins and the like. Can't say much else, seeing how I ain't in the gossip market. I hope all that helped. I'd like to be as useful as I can in the investigation. I just didn't want to steer anyone the wrong way. Everyone's got theories. I don't reckon mine hold much more weight than anyone else's. Sure, I'd taken to checking the barroom every few hours prior to the unveiling. Just to make sure no sprats had snuck into the place. You understand. Found her right before I was set to head back to my room in the lower levels for my mandated 5-hour sleep period. Tell ya, thank the law for caffeinoid. Been too upset to get a wink of sleep since. And hey, now I can finally see smells. Beats all hell out of me. Maybe she was practicing for the unveiling? What? No! Just because I found the corpse doesn't mean I made her a corpse. I was in shift all day. Besides, I loved Helen serials. Well, the old ones anyway. The newer episodes are hot junk on a warm day. Sure. What's on your mind?
Welcome to the Grand Cl- If you have any...
Black Hole Birdie's disappeared, you know. The poor fellow must be inconsolable.
Oh, thank the law. Inspector, you don't know how relieved I am to see you. Constable Maria Keene. It's good to meet you in person, Inspector.
Dr. Goodnight. Ecstatic to make your various acquaintances and so on. Are we finished with the pleasantries? There's something I'm excited to show you. An extraordinary contraption. You'll love it.
Our coroner has developed a device which may prove useful in your investigation. Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you.
Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you. Oh, please. You make it sound as if I'm turning over stolen goods. Behold, my discrepancy amplifier. Hold it in your hands. Feel the way it hums with ontological potential. You're rather sharp in your upper story. I can see why you're the inspector. The discrepancy amplifier uses a deterministic model of our universe to detect the discrepancy between what should be and what actually is. Then it renders any discrepancies visible by using the power of magnification. Oh, goodness, no. I don't care for OSI doctrine. I just enjoy their math.
I'm contractually prohibited from endorsing off-brand technology, but I'll bend that rule just this once. You'll want to peer into the amplifier and examine the crime scene.
Oh, don't mind us, folks. Normal inspectors doing normal inspector things.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The discrepancy This unit has detected a discrepancy related to Halcyon Helen. Unscheduled expiration of. Begin amplification. The discrepancy amplifier has been programmed with advanced speech recognition, scientific analysis, and deterministic calculus protocols.
Oh, you'll love this. Amplifier, tell the inspector about your features.
Please do not interrupt the discrepancy amplifier. The discrepancy amplifier is programmed to take instruction from its registered or designated inspector.
How curious. I must have set its impertinence levels to flagrant.
This unit's features include an automated personality simulator. This unit has been programmed to simulate joy and satisfaction in assisting you. This footprint stands out from the normally spotless floor of the grand ballroom. Typically, the ballroom is cleaned twice daily, which means this must have been made by either Helen or her assailant or assailants.
Don't do that. We got food back on the ship.
Footprint is a tailor-made 8.75, suggesting that its owner was very particular about their shoe size. It is also the exact size that Halcyon Helen typically prefers. There are traces of dirt throughout the footprint. The dirt carries traces of fertilizer, as well as the faint signs of crushed purpleberries and grass. Grass, fertilizer, and purpleberries can all be found in the purpleberry orchards, located not far from the Grand Colonio. This deduction appears sound.
Good work, Inspector. I had a feeling we'd make some progress once we brought you onto the case. You'll need Administrator Ludovico to grant you access to the orchards. Contact him through the secure access terminal in your penthouse suite. Check in with the concierge. Your room should be ready by now. If it isn't, I may have to go shake someone by the collar.
I know we got a murder to solve, but I say we take our time. Enjoy the hotel. No one's allowed off the islands except us. The killer ain't going anywhere. Unless they jumped off the edge. And they got some way to fly. Huh. Didn't think about that.
You know, of all the places we've been, this is the closest I've felt to something that can work. This whole complex, I mean. They've got gainful employment, a wilderness reserve for fun, an enormous roof over people's heads. Maybe after the dust settles, they could shore up some holes and be an example to the rest of the colony. Here's hoping.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Something I should know? I'm afraid I must decline. It isn't personal, Inspector. I'm just on duty right now. Talk to me later, after you've met with Administrator Ludovico. I'll make time to chat. Are you asking me these questions in an official capacity? I'm encouraged to know you're taking this job seriously. Please, ask your questions. Spencer Woolrich and Bertie Holcomb are officially persons of interest in this investigation. I've mostly ruled out Mr. Woolrich, leaving Bertie Holcomb as my lead suspect. Let me rephrase that. He's your lead suspect. I've been instructed to turn this case over to your capable hands, while I continue to serve as a consultant. Work is simple. People are complicated. The people involved in this murder are especially complicated. Mr. Woolrich was Halcyon Helen's professional rival. It's possible jealousy drove him to take Helen out of the picture. I apologize for the wordplay. Conversely, Mr. Bertie Holcomb was Helen's paramour. The relationship was reportedly dissolved. I can't rule out her murder as a crime of passion. Mr. Holcomb was in a romantic relationship with Helen. This alone is not enough to make him a lead suspect, but he does play tossball. Black Hole Bertie currently holds the record for most non-consecutive blows to the head. His tendency toward irrational and violent behavior is well documented. Woolrich thinks of himself as a serious and distinguished actor. He was frequently cast in demeaning roles, while Helen played the charismatic heroine. He has reason to be envious. I considered the possibility that Woolrich killed Helen in order to eliminate a rival and advance his own career. But my reasoning collapsed under closer scrutiny. Woolrich owes his career to Helen's dramas. Her death likely harms his long-term prospects. I'm struggling to determine a motivation for him, so I've largely ruled him out. Please, ask your questions. Norval, head bellhop. He was understandably distraught. I believe his feelings were genuine. He's a remarkably poor actor. Hotel security corroborates his whereabouts during the murder. I haven't included him in my list of suspects, but neither am I convinced of his innocence. If there were any witnesses, none came forward. Ballroom cameras were also offline at the time of the murder. Helen was very particular about having cameras on her. Security footage would have constituted documentary filmmaking. Can't afford that. There's no sign of the murder weapon. Whatever it was that killed Helen, the killer took it with them. Frankly, I'm having trouble imagining exactly what it was that killed her. Helen was known to carry her signature weapon, a bespoke handgun known as the Needler. There was no sign of any such weapon on her body.
The Needler's real? I watched her use that thing in the gunfight at the end of Terror on Monarch.
You keep excitable company. I hope they won't complicate your investigation by touching things. Anything else? You've got my cooperation. Anything else?
The Purpleberry Orchards. And a footprint. Inspector, that was absolutely marvelous. Beautifully deduced. With the help of my discrepancy amplifier, of course. Ah, I was waiting for this. Yes, of course. I'm only too eager to cooperate. My goodness, I must have died and ascended to the architect's plane. I never imagined I'd meet someone courteous and well-mannered in this hotel. I'd be more than happy to banter with you after I finish my autopsy. Until then, shall we talk about the body? The corpse, Inspector. Concentrate, please. Our leading lady must have riled up someone. Her wounds from cranium to metatarsal are as follows. A blow to the head, severe enough to lacerate the flesh. Followed by a suite of plasma burns down the neck and back, signs of poisoning, evidence of inanition and desiccation, possible signs of jaundice, some shingles, one malformed toenail. That's good advice. I'll just strike out malformed toenail as a possible cause of death. The short version is this. Helen was killed by poison, a blow to the head, and a plasma weapon. Possibly more. I am, of course, at your service. Oh, good. One of my favorite subjects. Ask away, my dear. Ask away. Because you're the inspector. I should think that's rather obvious. I invented the discrepancy amplifier to assist me in my own medical work. When you were hired to investigate Helen's death, I realized I had my own part to play. I programmed the amplifier to assist you. I'm entrusting it to your care because I want to see my invention help a brilliant inspector solve the murder of the century. You don't miss a thing, do you, Inspector? I can see why the constable recommended hiring you. Think of the amplifier as my gift to you. May it avail you in the swift and efficient prosecution of justice. I still have the blueprint and several extra prototypes floating around, but I might recommend you try to be careful with it. Some of the amplifier's internal components are rare, shall we say, and I don't have an indefinite supply. I didn't expect an existentialist question so early today. It's a need. Just as Sprats feel they must breed, or Canids feel they must brutally maul each other. I feel the need to create. Inspector, I'm sure you don't want to spend 4 hours talking back and forth about the intricacies of a science project. It works. That's the important part. You sure you don't want to know anything else? Oh, all right. We can change the subject. Oh, why, I'm flattered, Inspector. Let me think. I've worked at the Grand Colonial for about as long as it's been around. Prior to that, I lived in Byzantium, but I always felt like it was missing something. And that something turned out to be corpses. Byzantium has much in the way of luxury, but examining the dead does not rank amongst the preferred activities of the elite. It's not necessarily that I dislike it, just that I think the day-in, day-out flow of luxury gets old. Leisure's worth its salt, of course, but sometimes you need to get a little corpse blood on your hands to remember why life's worth living. Absolutely. Usually I'm just a medical practitioner, so I almost never get to deal with anything as unique, or as quiet, as a corpse. The most interesting thing I saw prior to this was the back of Mr. Woolrich's throat after he blew out his vocal cords shouting at an attendant. If I weren't here, I'd be back in my quarters, rewatching Byzantium in the spring, or working on my automatic sprat peeler. Oh, good. One of my favorite subjects. You sure you...
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
I knew I should have gotten her autograph when I had the chance.
Staring at her won't bring her back, folks.
I did not read about this kind of treatment.
I'm sorry, sir, but while the hotel is an active crime scene, I regret to inform you that all new bookings, room upgrades, room downgrades, and in-room massages are Oh, you're the special inspector. Mr. Kincannon warned me you'd be checking in soon. Why, you? Oh, Mr. Kincannon. He runs all sublet underground operations in the Eridanos Atmospheric Complex, including the Grand Colonial Hotel. But he keeps his office down in the warehouse district, near the docks. If you should require to meet with him in person, you're most likely to find him there. While you're here, Inspector, could I set you up with a room? Oh, the ballroom's right behind the tower elevators. Swing a left or a right, then cut through the crowd of spectators. You can't miss it. The Grand Colonial front desk. How may I be? My apologies, Inspector, but that would be a severe violation of guest privacy. We here at the Grand Colonial firmly believe that... All right, my supervisor just walked out of earshot. Some folks just don't understand the importance of gossip. About whom? And what would you wish to know? If looks could kill, he'd have put her in the ground 10 times over. Man's clearly jealous of her success compared to his. See, I'd bet we're the only two people thinking about him in all of Eridanos. And I only am because you mentioned his name. If you leave woolly cow milk out, it turns to curds. Leave the curds out, they begin to get stale, then rot. Woolridge is on his way to the trash bin, and everyone knows it. Either he's in denial, or he knew Helen would be checking out soon, judging by his increasing demands for a room upgrade. Her deal? Not making them. I'd laugh at my own comment, but everyone knows there's no bigger joke than the prophet of profitability herself. Didn't you hear Helen's interview? That woman is the definition of humbuggery. Anyone who gives her the time of day is a right fool. I mean, Spencer Woolridge has taken several of her productivity seminars, and look where it got him. Don't waste your time. Ah, Birdie. Is he bigger than he is dumb, or dumber than he is big? I've a bet with a friend. Not sure we'll ever get it to pay out. Birdie used to be Helen's beau, though he isn't anymore, and not just because she's dead. If I had 1,000,000 bits, I'd spend every one just to learn what caused their split. You know, out of everyone here, I probably knew the least about Helen. I'm not much of an Aetherwave watcher myself. And Helen always had a crowd of admirers chasing her, you see, so she rarely stopped to chat. Friendly enough, surely, but always seemed untouchable. Emphasis on seemed. Everyone wanted to be around Helen. She could usually be seen alongside Birdie or Woolridge, for obvious reasons. That's a shame, Inspector. A dashing gunslinger type, then. I'm sure the investigation will turn out splendidly in your hands. Or at least Mr. Kincannon seems confident enough to believe so. It certainly is a marvel of modern ingenuity, luxury, and ambition. Please, allow me to answer any curiosities you might have about our building and the amenities on offer. Who would be interested in a staff-only area? Most folks never ask about the sewers beneath Arizo's plant, either. Of course, your interest is my pleasure, as dictated by Miss... Most certainly. All the important folks can be found in the utmost parts of the hotel. You can hardly walk 3 feet without bumping into a tossball grate or a bored exec. Though maybe don't bump into them. Could be harmful to your health. twice the size of the next biggest room, and kitted out with any amenity you want, as well as many that you won't. Best to enjoy it while you can, Inspector. Typically, the only people who can afford the penthouse suite have enough bits to suffocate everyone on Terra 2. Also, please inform me if Woolridge gives you a hard time about getting a better room than his. Don't tell him I said this, but everyone on staff wants to strangle him. If you're sure. I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority. Moreover, the guests were promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear the end of it. That's a good point. If they give me guff, I can just tell them that they're obstructing justice. That has a nice ring to it. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. Done. You can now come and go as you please. Ah yes, we are most pleased to offer you our grandest of grand accommodations, Inspector. The penthouse suite on our topmost floor is now available for you. The last guest left her belongings behind when she vacated unexpectedly, so we needed a little time to tidy the suite up for you. Simply call the elevator in the lobby and our highly skilled operator will deliver you to your private floor with efficiency and cheer.
We should try to solve the puzzle hedges in the orchards. The prize is supposed to...
Murder or no murder, it is my right to loiter on a bar stool. How else should I be
Black hole.
How awful! I left my...
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Well, I suppose I've seen stranger marketing. Not sure what Rizzo's was trying to accomplish with this one.
Damn, when was the last time I slept? Hello. I hope you're enjoying your visit.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. An industrial-grade laxative has been added to the liquor in these bottles.
Hello? Hello? Can't you let me in yet? I've been waiting almost 15 minutes.
Finally checked in, I see. I hope you're fond of the penthouse. It's pretty much the best seat in the whole hotel. You shouldn't want for any amenity you might find elsewhere. Should act as a better headquarters for the investigation than any space dust-covered ship. That and you ain't got room service on a ship. You ever need anything, come find me. Even if you don't, you can still swing by. I'm always happy to chat. Please do.
Hello there, my inordinately esteemed guest. If my hello were any more earnest, this loudspeaker would explode. What authorized floor can I bring you to? If you see Black Hole Birdie, be sure to get an autograph for me. Just joking, I've already got one.
We don't toss troublemakers out of airlocks. We just throw them over the edge.
I'm getting worried about our mascot. Haven't seen him for a spell.
Hey there. You a fan?
Initiating banter protocol. Now simulating familiar and welcoming demeanor. Burbage 3001 is trained to recognize all board-approved actors. Greetings, fellow star. Your performance in Maverick Johnston's latest drama was Burbage 3001's programming is frequently upgraded to adhere banter protocol exhausted, reverting to Burbage 3001 was designed to disrupt Halcyon Helen's monopoly over the Aetherwave serial market. This unit's programming is based on Helen's most famous roles. Burbage 3001. Anything Halcyon Helen can do, this unit can do slightly worse. Now running shock and dismay protocol. What's this? Helen's death was a murder. This unit has not yet completed its grief cycles. Random.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Chemical analysis complete. This unit has detected oil, terror ray, blood, terror ray, unidentifiable.
A lot of folk use their blood for seasoning on account of its sweetness. Don't try and use its innards, though. Only thing that can digest taro meat is a raptidon. Oh, for the love of... Just make sure you clean the bathroom up later, yeah?
This unit's chemical analysis agrees with your assessment. Inspector, please control any impulses that lead you to ingest dangerous substances. These substances cause extreme gastrointestinal distress in humans. Large doses can be fatal. This bottle contained Rizzo's Spectrum vodka. The presence of terror-ray biological fluids may have significantly improved its flavor.
About time you arrived. I see you haven't dressed the way I asked you to, but I suppose that was expecting too much of a non-industry lout. Expect a complaint to management. Now, unless you'd like to waste more of my time, I suggest we begin rehearsing. Ready? You've fallen right into my trap, Captain. Oh, don't bother to fight back. You cannot hope to stop me from installing philosophism as the system's reigning ideology. Well, I didn't, you fool. It was in the script. Wait. Now that I think about it, you do smell rather like the Aether, old blood and unwashed feet. Oh, no, this is curious indeed. Who are you, and how did you get in here? And yet you found your way to my humble hotel room. Why do I feel there's more of a reason for you to be here than you let on? I think I know, you cheeky little sprat. Now, what shall I sign first? Your weapon? Your wallet? Or perhaps something a little more personal? Undergarment signatures have been popular of late, or so I've heard. I'd be delighted. Oh, damn. My pen's out of ink. I'll just get you a portrait of my face as a souvenir. I'm sure I have the prints around here somewhere. By the by, how did you get in here? The only non-staff individual cleared to enter guest rooms is supposed to be the inspector for Bellamy's murder. Oh. Oh! Hello. Hi. Terribly sorry, Inspector. I didn't realize it was you. Understand that I am beyond willing to comply with your search for the fiend that did Bellamy in. You know, now that I look at you, you're the perfect reflection of me, back when I starred in The Marauder's Bane. The absolute picture of justice. Ask me anything at all. I might even give you a straight answer. I'm sure you're joking. Perhaps I'm not in my prime, but you've... Come now, I'm sure I would have made more of an impression than that. Did you ever see me in The Masked Marketeer? The Busker of Byzantium? What about episodes? And who could forget From Halcyon with Love? I was great in that movie. Even if I was starring... What can I say? I've led a charmed life. Certainly. How was it? How awful. Whoever did this must have been quite heartless. Oh, come now, Inspector. What do you take me for? I'm an old man. I neither have the time nor the willpower to kill people for fun. Besides, I have my reputation to think of. Bellamy has been my co-star throughout the autumn of my career. I should like to think I knew her. In fact, I cannot name a single role in the last 10 years that did not involve her in some way, unless you count the uncredited silent shopkeep on Melissa's Meteoroids. I'll ask you this. If you'd been the star of cinema for years, then suddenly found yourself scrounging for bit parts while a younger person stole the limelight, how would you feel? In short, the two of us weren't close. But that's not to say my dislike of her was so extreme that I tried to do anything drastic. Resenting Bellamy is one thing, but killing her is another completely. It's also beneath me. I was meditating, of course. That's how I get into character. All actors have their methods, and this has been mine ever since I met that wonderful prophet of profitability. She taught me it for my role in The Unemployed Cometh. I had to lie face down on artificially heated pavement. The director wanted our suffering to be convincing. Needless to say, being able to leave my body helped to mitigate the pain, both during the 8-hour shoot and with the second-degree burns afterwards. I owe that woman much. Yeah, actually, only since I've been at the Colonial. The Unemployed Cometh was shot on site. That makes it, a few weeks. I cannot recommend her services enough. If you haven't been to see her yet, you really should. Respectfully, Inspector, it is rather counterproductive to commune with others while meditating. I'll answer whatever you wish. I suppose that is enough on that grim subject. Oh, have you now? Please do go on. Don't leave me in suspense. I did indeed With Halcyon Helen parading her fame about, I was left without an acting partner. Burbage is no exception. His acting protocols were nothing short of a joke, so I decided to make some modifications, installing him with some of my old serial quotes, as I think improved his range. The way he bungled about with that weapon of his hardly befitted a dissident, so I modified it as well. He's much quicker on the draw now, though he's still a machine. I'm quite used to being breathlessly watched.
Great work. Damn, you got some nimble fingers, Captain. Hell of a job. Birdie Hulk.
Gotta stay limber for the big pennant match.
We're all seeing that woolly cow, right? Not just me? Okay, good.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Multiple woolly cows are an import species for the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve and are incapable of affording upper-class accommodations. Second discrepancy. This woolly cow is dangerously inebriated with Rizzo Spectrum vodka. Alcohol sanguinization ratio exceeds recommended maximum. An accurate observation, Inspector. This woolly cow is suffering from symptoms consistent with a hangover. A brief survey of this area reveals that the most recent occupants were athletes belonging to the Rizzo's Rangers Tossball Club. Insufficient data. A brief survey of localized property damage, divided by the area of this room, yields the following estimate. This unit was likely occupied by every member of the Rizzo's Rangers. -1.
Zeke Hannigan, Rizzo's Rangers 16th back. Pleased to meet you. What can I do for you? We sort of borrowed her from the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve while we were drunk. I have no idea how we managed to sneak her in here without being spotted. Don't worry, we'll return her safe and sound. Mostly sound. Hungover is still sound, right? Since it's the off-season, we're helping support the launch of Rizzo Spectrum Brown. Meet the fans, sign tossball cards, that sort of thing. How about you, fella? You after a signature?
Nah, I think I'll pass.
He's just being coy. Anyway, where was I? Just between you and me, Rizzo's ought to cancel the whole event out of respect for Miss Helen. About half my life. You know I was named third most profitable investment on 2 non-consecutive seasons? Ain't a lot of players who can make that claim. Except for the guys who came in first and second, I guess. I spent the last season injured and almost got sold to the Hephaestus Hammers, but now I'm all convalesced, ready to lay into some Cleo darlings, you know? Really break some legs. Oh, you must be that inspector people have been talking about. It's a damn shame about Miss Helen. She was always real good to me and the rest of the Rangers. Birdie's taking it pretty hard. Miss Helen was the love of his life. So, what did you want to know? Oh, Birdie was mad about Helen. He was certifiable. The big galoot loved Helen about as much as he loved the game. Trouble is, Birdie was not blessed with an abundance of temper. Helen kept Birdie steady. If he lost his temper around her, it'd be because something broke between the two of them. What? Law, no. Birdie's got a fierce temper, but there's no way he'd ever have laid a finger on Miss Helen. Miss Helen was outspoken. She made her share of enemies on account of her expressing herself. Just between you and me, I heard rumors the Prophet never much cared for Helen's brand of blunt honesty. I'm ashamed to admit it, but me and a couple of the other Rangers spent the night in Constable Keen's cells down at the spaceport. We didn't do anything serious, just a bit of pranks and vandalism. It's what usually happens when we all get to drinking. Guess Constable Keen saw things a bit differently and had us hauled off. No, we lost him somewhere along the way. Or maybe he managed to get away? I can't rightly remember. But he was definitely not sharing a cell with us. That much I know. What can I do for you? You trying to... What do you think you're doing? Do what you want, I guess.
Easy.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The soil in this residue contains a very high concentration of oxygen. Well done, Inspector. The weather monitoring station at the pilot house substitutes for a terraformer. The soil in his footprint likely came from there. The charred fragments of a letter lies at the bottom of this wastebasket. Unfortunately, most of the writing is beyond recovery. The words station, meeting point, and emergency are all that can be discerned.
Well, I'm stumped.
Someone burned this letter shortly after Halcyon Helen's death.
visit. Next up, the finest seat in the house.
Everything's so soft and silky and expensive. Oh gosh, I hope I don't get any grease stains on the furniture.
You think they'd object to me setting up a tanning station here?
Sam's Special Inspector add-on includes a magnifying glass to sleuth out the germs and parasites that other cleaning products leave behind.
I call the big bed. Anyone wants to challenge me, we can play a hand of cards.
So this is what a clean room smells like.
Eridanos is a technological marvel, and they use it as a tourist destination to sell sweets and alcohol.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Helen, where did we go wrong? Oh, Lo, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for... Helen, I love you. I love you so much.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The imprint left inside this suitcase matches the silhouette of Halcyon Helen's iconic handgun, the Needler. The weapon was recently removed.